Let's look about Batra Daf Kuf Chaf Dalid Amud Aleph, continuing, sorry, from Kuf Chaf Chima Amud Bet 23 lines down. Number nine. Habechon Tel Pishnaim, the firstborn son, if he's the son of a Kohen, he takes double portion for the korbanot that would have been belonged to his father. Bezroa Ubelechayim Bekeva, the presence that the Kohen gets, the leg, the jaw, the part of the stomach that would have belonged to the father. وبمقدسين also their stuff. But also in benefit that came to the property after the father passed away. Let's talk about it. كسب what does that mean? هنيخ لنا بحراب محوكرة المشبع خيرت بيد آخرين if the father left him a cow that was rented out to someone else, for example. أو شهيتارو عبا أفار. Let's say you had a cow that was grazing in public property. It was no problem. It was feeding itself. There's no expense on their end. The other another kid, the firstborn takes the portion. But let's say that they had built houses or planted vineyards using money from the father's inheritance. In you don't take the portion. Right, the first one happens by itself. The second one you have to have expense. You have to invest into it. The rest is okay, fine. Hi, the leg, the jaw, the stomach. What's it talking about? If the father already owned it before he passed away, Pshita, of course he gets double. And if the father did not own it, then it's considered something that's prospective, which means that they're not that's it's incoming. And incoming and the firstborn only gets double portion on the stuff that's there, not that's incoming. So how can he take it? The Gemara says, okay, in case where the Kohen had specific people that always gave to him, right? The famous concept, let's say someone's neighbor or someone's in-laws, they have someone who they always give the Kohen the gifts. And therefore, with the they slaughtered the animal, this neighbor slaughtered the animal before the father passed away, because of our, and therefore, even though it wasn't separated yet, we had this halacha, they hold like this rabbi who holds that unseparated Kohanic gifts are considered separated already, and therefore, even though the guy wasn't given it to him yet, it's still considered his, and therefore the firstborn son is able to get the portion. Okay, the next thing is Muktashin, we said Hekdesh stuff. The Gemara says, Laz den inu. Hekdesh does not belong to the Kohen. Hekdesh belongs to the Bet HaMikdash. Gemara says, Bekochi Kalim, is referring to Kochi Kalim, like the lower holiness, lower Kiddusha type of items. Kochi Kalim belongs to the owner. Right, so Hekdesh, everybody agrees, top Hekdesh, Korban Pesach. Korban Olah belongs to Hashem slash Kohanim. But over here, the Kochi Kalim, lower level Kedusha stuff belong to the owner. The Tanya Bretta says, Ma'ala Ma'al Hashem. Person shall steal it, he shall commit a sin against God. The Rabot Kochi Kalim to include Kochi Kalim in the halacha of swearing falsely. Shehen Mamon Ba'alim. You swear falsely by Kochi Kalim, there is still a penalty fee. It's going to be and now, mentioned the case of the cow, or that was leased or rented to someone else, or was grazing elsewhere, which therefore has no net loss or expense. The Adana has a child, the firstborn gets the portion. Now, if mentioned the first case, we're talking about a case where you're renting it out elsewhere, where the owner is not being taken care of by the owner, Amar Shakil, the firstborn, still takes the portion. So what means the second case where the animal is grazing elsewhere? Of course, you gain double portion. The first case is where it's not even in your house. So here you're looking at it outside your window and it's grazing in the street. Of course, you get double portion. The case of that it's leased out is similar concept, a similar scenario parameters as the same concept of the animal grazing in public. What is it? Case of the animal grazing is and has child is a benefit that comes by itself, and there's no expense feeding it. Case of leasing it, it's not a case where the animals is not being fed by the brothers. It has to be talking about a case where the animal is being fed by the person who is renting it. Okay, Mani, whose opinion is according to? He is according to Rabbi Tanya. The firstborn son does not take double portion in property that comes to the father to the estate after the father passes away. Rabbi says, I say that the firstborn does take double portion after the father passes away. But he agrees that if the firstborn, if the sons collectively did something, let's say they took $100,000 the father owned and they invested it, and now they have $110,000, the firstborn does not take double portion of that. That is something that they themselves accrued a benefit from. But if it happened by itself, he does take double portion. Yarshush Tarhab, let's say some other case. The brothers inherit a loan document. Their father was owed $100 from somebody. The firstborn takes double portion of that money when it gets paid back. Let's say a loan document was produced against the father. Someone said, hey, your father owed me $100. The firstborn also has to pay double portion. So let's say it was $100 and there's three brothers. The firstborn has to pay 50% and the other brothers pay 25 each. The same way he gets he gets double portion of the receiving, he also gets double portion of the paying. The firstborn wants to say, you know what? I don't want anything to do with this firstborn stuff. I want to be treated like an equal. Rashai, he's permitted to do so both ways. He's permitted to do so yani completely. That means he won't receive double and he won't have to pay double. My time, how come Hamim, what would Hamim say? Mark says, let it the father shall give his firstborn double portion. Matana the Torah calls the double portion as a gift, and therefore Matana adematia just like a gift can't be given until it comes into the possession. So to the firstborn portion is not given unless it came into the possession before his death, and therefore anything that comes afterward is not considered double for the firstborn. Rabbi Meir says no. Makra Pishnayim Pasuk says double portion to teach him. Makish Helik Bechora Lechek Pashut. The Torah compares the firstborn extra portion to the portion of a regular son. Teach you. So just like the regular son will receive benefit even if it comes a month after the father passed away. So to the firstborn son should get double portion even after the father passed away. So now, how do we explain each other? Each opinion has to explain the pasukim. But according to Hamim, what does he do with the word hakti pishnaim? What does he do with that word? That teaches you that the firstborn is given two portions along a single boundary, which means we had this, I believe, in the beginning of Seshet, that he gets to choose two fields that we had earlier. Yeah, in the beginning of Sechet, 112 days ago. That if there's two fields that are if the fields are near each other and or near his own property, he gets to take that. Where does it do with Hamim's pasuk of Lathetlo? Who he says, Shem Mar the firstborn can bow out of the two double portion halacha. He doesn't have to take it. Okay, Amarapapa. Dikla va'alim. If the father left a palm tree and it grew stronger after he died, if he let them land and then it got fertile after he died, everybody agrees that the firstborn takes the portion. He left them a field with just grain, and then they turned it, and then the wheat grew on them. It had a tree of blossoms, and then it developed into dates. Yani, it wasn't something that was there that got better, but rather something that was not there and it turned into something. The more so, according to Rabbi Shef that's automatic, that's passive, and therefore the firstborn takes. More so, but Chachmim hold it's different, and therefore the firstborn does not get it. If one acted like Rabbi and gave it to the firstborn, Asa, he did it. He did it good. Now, sounds like both work. How does that make sense? I was not sure if the halacha is according to Rabbi when he's arguing with Chachamim or not. Or maybe it only follows him when it's he wasn't sure if we are posek like Rabbi, if it's just against one rabbi or multiple rabbis. Right over here is a case where he's against multiple rabbis. You're not allowed like Rabbi. You only like Rabbi if it's one-on-one, but not versus multiple rabbis like over here. Nachman himself said, you can do like Rabbi because like Rabbi against a single rabbi and even over multiple rabbis. You can't do like Rabbi. But if you did it, it's okay with the avad. Rava holds that you can lean toward Chachamim, but if you do it like Rabbi, it's okay. Okay. Taner Nachman b'shar sifrei divrei Rav. Rav Nachman taught a Braita in a certain halach, in a certain sefer. B'chol asher yimaseh lo. The father must recognize the firstborn to give him double portion in all that's found with him. This excludes things that comes that he does not get a portion on stuff that comes after he dies. But that sounds like if benefit happened to the property after the death of the father, Shakil, the firstborn, does take the portion. Umani, who's according to Rabbi, who's according to Rabbi. Tana Rabbi Ma'ama b'sha'ar sifetei Rav, b'chol ha'shirim masalo, same pasuk, Pirat ha'shivach shevchun ha'tzin la'achar mitadavhen. This excludes the portion from benefit that happened to the property after the father passed away. And it also for sure applies to benefit that the sons brought to the property that the father did. That they did to the father's property. The first one does not take it. The money is according to Rabbanan, according to Chachamim. The firstborn son does not take double portion in the loan that was owed to the father that's paid back afterward. We already know that why would you need to teach me according to Chachamim? Chachamim, we already know that if it's something that happens automatically, like a tree, you don't get. So a loan, for sure, you don't need to tell me. Gemara says another Rabbi, even according to Rabbi, but according to the Braita says Yarashu Shtarachov, if they get a loan document, the son does get the portion in the loan and in the interest money. Doesn't fit anybody according to that. Gemara says really it's according to Chachamim. And you still need to teach me, even though it sounded pashut. So the Chachamim might think milve regarding a loan. Since the guy's holding the document, the guy therefore it's considered collected. Kamash Milan, even though the father, when he passed away, had a document, it's not considered collected. And therefore, if the father passes away, the son does not get it. Shalchamitam. Defend the halacha from Eretz Israel. Bechor notel the first one takes the portion in regarding to loan. I have a little bit of not an interest. The man who's according to you, same thing. Why would you think that they would get in a loan if you don't get in a tree, for example? The verse says, according to the law. What do you mean Rabbi doesn't hold by interest? But then Rabbi Omer, you do take by interest. Where it says really it must be according to Hamim. And will the Kiman the Gavi this halacha is according to the opinion that a loan is considered collected, and therefore, even though he doesn't take is according to this opinion, even though he doesn't take according to Hamim benefit for stuff that happens after the death, over here by loan is considered collected already, and therefore he does get double portion.